The Fantastic Four: First Steps is a 2025 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics superhero team The Fantastic Four. Produced by Marvel Studios, it is the 37th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the second reboot of the Fantastic Four film series. The film was directed by Matt Shakman from a screenplay by Josh Friedman, Eric Pearson, and the team of Jeff Kaplan and Ian Springer. Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman, the Human Torch, and the Thing confront their greatest challenge ever as they battle to protect Earth from the powerful Galactus and his herald, the Silver Surfer. Alright, so I've gotten to see the new Fantastic Four film in theaters a couple days ago. And I guess, the underlying question now is this film fantastic? And I will say yes for some parts of this film. I don't think overall it is, completely fantastic. There are some flaws to this film, which I did sort of expect. It is far from perfect, but nonetheless, I left the theaters feeling very pleased and also excited for how the Fantastic Four will be integrated into Avengers Doomsday and, of course, Avengers Secret Wars. So it'll be very exciting. I do think Marvel is heading in the right direction. Before this film, we had Thunderbolts, which I very much loved as well. So, let's get straight into this review. I'll start off by saying, casting-wise, I think the casting was impeccable. I thought it was basically perfect. I think they really hit the mark with the casting director, at least really hit the mark with this, with their job on this one. I think Joseph Quinn and Eben Moss-Backrack, particularly, they deliver standout performances as the Human Torch and the Thing, respectively. I really love their banter throughout this film. It sort of retains the franchise's signature humor and warmth that is also prevalent through the comics as well. I also love Vanessa Kirby and Pedro Pascal. I think they bring emotional depth and a very believable relationship dynamic on screen that really grounds the film in heart and humanity. Of course, this is a film very grounded in family. That's a huge theme of this film. Another thing that I really liked actually was, and I guess this is, hats off to Pedro Pascal, he really brought a more vulnerable and uncertain take on Reed Richards. He made him a lot more morally astute. He's not necessarily a cold-hearted genius that I guess he's sometimes displayed in the comics. He makes him a lot more vulnerable and lighthearted, and in my opinion, that really offered a very fresh spin on the genius archetype, which I liked. And so I like that. Another thing that I really like that this film does, it skips rehashing the very traditional origin story that we've sort of already know. Of course, you see it in the trailer as well. It's in the film, of course, too, but they're in their spacesuits, but we don't necessarily see them getting mutated. It's sort of in the background. And so I really like that. But actually, what I love that they sort of substituted for that origin backstory, what they did instead, and I really love this because it fits into the whole 1960s aesthetic, but they opted for this stylized in-universe TV show introduction that, of course, the Fantastic Four set in an alternate Earth, so that's why it's retro, but they just had this stylized introduction of this, old TV series that you would see back in the day, so I thought that was very fun, very cartoony as well. But yeah, going into the production design, I already mentioned, it's very 1960s inspired. I love the retro futuristic aesthetic. I think that gives the film a very distinctive visual identity that we really have not seen in any film in the MCU. And so to me, this really signifies a comic book come to life. I think I also read somewhere that Pedro Pascal was trying to do this transatlantic accent or something, or he tried to make his accent sort of in the period of the 60s. So it's cool that they really honed in their behavior and their vocal or their voices to fit the time period as well. or at least Pascal did. But yeah, I mean, thematically, I already mentioned it. This film emphasizes family unity as the team's true strength. And so, in a way, this creates emotional stakes rather than relying solely on visual spectacle. So, I do think this has sort of less visual effects than maybe the average Marvel movie. But I will say, by far, the toughest scene in this film, like that was fire, was how they introduced Galactus. It was crazy. It was menacing. And I thought it kind of gave me like goosebumps. And so, yeah, I definitely think Galactus's presence was chilling. However, I do think it was a bit underused, or he as a character was a bit underused. He sort of feels like he's too easily defeated, given the scale, like the physical scale that he's in. Like, he's a huge giant, but he kind of gets defeated kind of easily in a way. And also Shala Balls, who I think Shala Ball is like the name for Silver Surfer. Her arc sort of, it adds emotional nuance, I will say, but the redemption arc that she has, it feels kind of rushed, and it definitely happens mostly off screen. And so it's sort of like a 180-degree shift that we see, and we don't really necessarily see. It happens off screen. We don't necessarily get to see that redemption arc truly progress. What else? Okay. Yeah, the alternate Earth setting I already mentioned. I absolutely love that. I also think it frees this film from MCU luggage, and it allows this film to stand more independently. So again, I'm very excited to see how the Fantastic Four get integrated into Avengers Doomsday. Of course, Doomsday is pretty sure set in the universe set in the Earth reality that Fantastic Four is set in. But I'm just curious to see how all the superheroes get together. It's going to be very interesting. A flaw that I kind of have for this film is that it never feels truly high stakes. This is sort of what I mentioned before about, it's a lot more emotional stakes, and it leans more into the emotion as opposed to the visual spectacles. Because it's a lot more grounded in hope, you never really feel the suspense. It goes, that's basically it. It goes from a more hopeful tone, and then it sort of mitigates the suspense and the thrills that you would sort of expect in the last act. What else? I guess that's pretty much it. Going into the mid-credits teaser, like the post-credits, mid-credits teaser, obviously I won't spoil it, but it teases a new character for sure, and it also suggests a narrative pivot from the Kang storyline. Kang the Conqueror, who was like introduced in Loki season 1, I think at the ending of season 1. Obviously, there was like allegations happening outside of this film in the industry, but I guess they're sort of pivoting from that storyline, and now they're going into this Doomsday route. So, I guess all the best. I think it definitely sets up deeper future conflicts, which should be interesting. But yeah, overall, this film, it's not revolutionary by any means, and it is also like far from perfect, like I said, but it has a very confident and heartfelt introduction of these characters. These characters have been rebooted quite a few times. I think there's like every 10 years, there's a new Fantastic Four. Like we had one in 2005. We had a really bad one in 2015, but we have a really good one in 2025 this year. So, strong performances throughout, very emotional storytelling, and a very unique aesthetic that, to me, all of those combined make up for a very solid and very worthwhile entry, especially for, longtime fans that have really been waiting and aching to see a great Fantastic Four come to life that is perfectly cast, and actually has a very decent storyline. So it's finally happened, but yeah, I would just say this: just expect sincerity over spectacle. It doesn't rely too heavily on visual effects, except for maybe the CGI to create Ebon Moss-Backrack as the Thing, and then maybe Galactus and Silver Surfer. That's basically it. I guess, I guess to see all the superpowers, that is CGI as well, but like it's mostly sincerity. It is mostly emotion and like family dynamics that really take up the center stage of this film, as opposed to like the visual spectacles. So um, I think this is a great film debut for experienced television director Matt Shackman, who succeeds in this endeavor. So hats off to him. And yeah, I'm going to give Fantastic Four First Steps a 7 out of 10. That's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.